Hi, I'm William,
And I'm Kat,
and that makes this info on the go.
answering questions you want to know.
So, Kat, we just did Temple Grandin, and it came up about pink slime. So, I thought we could kind of dive into it. It it's a little more interesting than just what we kind of mentioned in that episode.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Let's dive in.
All right, let's do it. Lean, friendly, textured beef, LFTB, commonly known as pink slime, was developed by Beef Products Incorporated, BPI, in the early 1990s.
At the heart of this innovation was Eldon Roth, BPI's founder and the driving force behind the technological breakthrough.
Roth wasn't your typical meat processor. Largely self-taught, he had a background in food manufacturing and refrigeration systems, and a passion for finding smarter, safer ways to handle meat.
In the late 1980s and the early 90s, Roth became increasingly focused on a challenge the industry had long grappled with: how to extract unstable lean meat from fatty beef trimmings, parts often discarded or downgraded.
Roth pioneered a novel system that used centrifugation, a high-speed spinning process to physically separate lean beef from fat.
But his most controversial innovation was what came next: treating the lean meat with ammonium hydroxide gas to kill harmful pathogens like E. coli and Salmonella.
Okay, so you have this process where you're separating the lean beef from the fat, right? So it's still a meat product.
Right,
But then he's adding in this um hydroxide gas to kill these pathogens that could possibly cause bodily harm, right?
right.
Roth saw this as a major food safety advancement and an inexpensive, effective way to sanitize meat that might otherwise be too risky to use.
He also invested heavily in clean room manufacturing environments, borrowing ideas from the pharmaceutical industry to ensure sanitary conditions.
Okay, well, at least he's trying to keep it clean.
Right.
His goal wasn't just efficiency, it was creating a safer, more sustainable meat supply.
Before Roth's innovation, beef trimmings with a high fat to lean ratio were typically rendered into pet food or industrial fats, not used for human consumption.
Ross process flipped that narrative, recovering valuable lean meat that would otherwise go to waste.
This wasn't just good for business, it was a win for sustainability. His method helped
Reduce food waste by using more of each carcass.
produce an effective, leaner beef product.
Improve bacterial safety in ground beef blends.
In the early 2000s, after reviewing the safety protocols, the USDA approved the use of LFTB in ground beef and classified it as meat, a decision that allowed the product to be used in everything from fast food burgers to school lunches.
However, despite the scientific legitimacy and sanitation advances, Ross innovation would later be overshadowed by public backlash.
When ABC News labeled the product pink slime in 2012, it triggered a national controversy centered around labeling transparency, food ethics, and consumer trust.
In March 2012, a series of explosive ABC News reports thrust a little known meat additive into the national spotlight. You know, I don't remember that.
Hmm.
If I'm not saying I don't know, I didn't see it, I just don't remember it. It just didn't have that much of an impact on me, I guess.
Feel like I remember hearing something about it, but there was a lot going on for me in 2012, so.
Same.
Lean, finely textured beef, LFTB, or as it came to be known as, pink slime, the term was unappetizing, and so was the description. Scraps of beef treated with ammonium hydroxide to kill bacteria, then blended into ground beef?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I could see how the ABC News report could kind of like, you label it pink slime instead of calling it lean, finely textured beef. I could kind of see how there could be a huge backlash. Pink slime versus lean, finely textured beef, like sensationalized journalism, right?
Right.
Okay. Although the USDA had long deemed LF LFTB safe and even classified it as meat, the reaction from the public was swift and fierce.
Nearly 70% of supermarket beef contained the additive at the time, but most consumers had no idea.
Once the secret was out, outrage boiled over. Major food companies like ConAgra, Sara Lee, and Kraft quickly distanced themselves from LFTB.
Right. Fast food chains and school districts pulled it from menus. Grocery giants promised to remove it from shelves.
The backlash hit the industry hard. Beef Products Incorporated, BPI, the largest producer of LFTB, lost 72 clients within days, closed three plants, and laid off 700 workers. Okay,
Jeez.
so I mean, that's
That's
huge.
that hit really hard.
Yeah, I mean, 700 people. And not to think about, I mean, we're probably talking about communities that depended on these plants for the livelihood of their, probably employed most of the people that were in that community.
Right. Competitor Cargill also scaled back operations and warned that reduced supply might lead to higher hamburger prices.
In the chaos, public officials scrambled to defend the product.
Governors and agriculture leaders toured BPI facilities, launching the slogan,
Dude, it's beef. Did I get it?
"Hope-
Did you think I nailed it?
yes, hoping to calm public fears, but the damage was done. Consumers wanted transparency and trust had been shaken.
The debate spilled into school lunch programs.
While the USDA maintained its support for LFTB, it ultimately gave school districts the power to choose.
By fall 2012, 47 out of 50 states opted out of purchasing beef containing the additive for schools.
Facing severe financial fallout, BPI filed a $1.2 billion defamation lawsuit against ABC News, claiming the coverage was misleading and unfair.
After a high profile trial in 2017, a confidential settlement was reached. Disney, ABC's parent company, disclosed a payout of at least 177 million, one of the largest known media settlements ever. Well, I mean, think about that. If they had a called it, you know, LF or what is it? Lean, finely textured beef instead of pink slime and got to the meat of the story, no pun intended, it probably would have had a different outcome. What do you
Right.
think?
No, I agree completely.
I mean, sensationalized journalism.
Right. This controversy didn't just affect one product, it sparked a national conversation about food safety, labeling, and corporate transparency.
It revealed just how much power media, consumers, and public perception can wield in shaping what ends up on our plates. Temple Grandin has consistently defended the use of pink slime.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Mr. Bell. The rest of the.
Good to have you with us.
You're tuned in to something timeless. Welcome to Family History Drama. Real lessons, real ancestors, real drama. Old-fashioned radio storytelling with modern-day immersive audio. True family stories of outlaws and soldiers, lions and rattlesnakes, miracles, disasters, and the tragedies of humanity. Look us up and listen in. There's a link in the show notes or find us on any podcast app. Family History Drama. True stories told like legend.
Emphasizing its safety, sustainability, and role in reducing food waste.
She argued that lean, finely textured beef is a responsible way to maximize lean protein from cattle, preventing valuable meat from being discarded unnecessarily.
Grandin believed that the backlash against pink slime in 2012 was driven by misconceptions and negative media framing, rather than legitimate food safety concerns.
She advocated for clear labeling so consumers can make informed choices rather than feeling misled by industry practices.
In her view, education about the process, how lean meat is safely separated and treated, could change public perception and reduce unnecessary fear.
Her support of LFTB aligns with her broader philosophy on humane livestock practices.
As a vocal proponent of animal welfare, Grandin has consistently worked to improve handling and slaughter methods to reduce stress on animals.
By advocating for LFTB, she further pushed for ethical meat production, arguing that fully utilizing the animal respects its life and minimizes waste.
Yeah, I mean, you don't, I mean, think about that. That's not sustainable if you're throwing stuff away that could be used.
Right.
Despite past controversies, Grandin's defense of LFTB helped shift conversations into the meat industry.
In 2018, the USDA officially reclassified LFTB as ground beef, reinforcing its legitimacy in food production.
Grandin's influence in both meat processing and public education continues to shape discussions on food sustainability, ethics, and transparency.
The pink slime controversy.
The debate over lean, finely textured beef, commonly referred to as pink slime, has been fueled by concerns over food safety, ingredient transparency, and public perception.
The term pink slime was originally coined by the USDA microbiologist Gerald Zernstein in 2002 when he expressed concerns over the inclusion of LFTB in ground beef.
His characterization of the product as not meat gained traction, particularly after the 2012 media expose that brought widespread attention to this issue.
The phrase itself, evoking an unappetizing and unnatural image, led to consumer backlash despite the product being deemed safe by the USDA and FDA.
One of the biggest points of contention surrounding pink slime is the use of ammonium hydroxide as an antimicrobial agent.
While the USDA recognizes ammonia treatment as a safe method for killing bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella, critics argue that the process should be more clearly disclosed to consumers.
The chemicals association with the industrial cleaning products intensified concerns, despite its being used approved in various food applications.
The rise and fall of pink slime.
In March 2012, a staggering 70% of ground beef in the U.S. contained lean, finely textured beef.
But just a year later, that number plummeted to 5%.
The dramatic decline was fueled by intense media scrutiny, leading retailers like Kroger and SuperValue to stop using the additive entirely.
As backlash mounted, Cargill responded by introducing a contains finely textured beef label in 2014, seeking to rebuild consumer trust.
Rising beef prices, up 27% over 2 years, pushed retailers to reconsider their approach, leading to a modest increase in LFTB production.
Beef Products Inc., or BPI, heavily affected by the controversy, eventually regained 40 customers, primarily processors and patty makers distributing to retailers and the USDA.
In December 2018, the USDA reclassified LFTB as ground beef following new production processes submitted by BPI.
This decision granted the product greater legitimacy, reinforcing its scientific safety standards despite continued public skepticism.
While LFTB is legal in the U.S., it faces strict regulations internationally.
Canada bans BPI's ammonium hydroxide treated LFTB, although it allows Cargill's citric acid produced finely textured meat under certain conditions.
The European Union strictly prohibits mechanically separated beef from bones or bone-in cuts of cattle, sheep, and goats.
The controversy sparked widespread anxiety over food safety and labeling transparency.
A Harris Interactive survey in 2012 found that 88% of U.S. adults were aware of the pink slime issue, with 76% expressing concern and 30% feeling extremely concerned.
More than half of those aware took action, from researching beef products to reducing their ground beef consumption.
Consumers Consumer groups push for mandatory labeling, arguing that shoppers deserve the ability to make informed decisions. I would agree with that. I would think, that label does need to include it.
I agree with that. Um, while some supported LFTB's food safety benefits, others feared misleading practices and called for greater transparency in packaging.
Even today, pink slime remains a lightning rod for controversy.
While industry experts insist it is safe, critics continue to question its necessity and push for clearer disclosures.
The battle over LFTB isn't just about meat, it's about consumer trust, corporate responsibility, and the fine line between efficiency and ethics in food production.
So, the story of lean, finely textured beef isn't just about meat. It's about innovation, ethics, and the fragile bridge between science and public trust.
Roth saw possibility where others saw waste.
His vision transformed an industry, turning discarded trimmings into safe, usable protein through bold thinking and cutting edge technology.
It was a step towards sustainability, food security, and smarter resource use. In many ways, he was ahead of his time.
But progress doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Mm-mm. What seemed like a quiet revolution in food safety became a flashpoint for a much louder debate, one about transparency, labeling, and how much the public has a right to know.
People weren't just reacting to what was in their food, they were reacting to how they learned about it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't labeled, it just was there.
Right.
Pink slime became a symbol to some of waste turned into nourishment, to others of a system that left them out of the conversation.
And both views matter.
And maybe that's the real lesson here.
Technology alone isn't enough.
Even when science is sound, the path forward requires communication, clarity, and
And
consent.
today, the meat industry continues to evolve.
LFTB still exists under stricter labeling laws with greater scrutiny and renewed appreciation for how delicate the balance is between efficiency and ethics.
Eldon Roth's work reminds us that change is never easy and it's often misunderstood.
But it shows that innovation must walk hand in hand with public dialogue.
Because when it does, we don't just build better products, we build trust.
And in the end, trust is the most essential ingredient in anything we consume.
Absolutely.
I think if they would have just labeled it, I don't think it would have been as big a deal as it was. I get both sides of the story. And, yeah, it's a way to cut back waste, it, build profit margins, I guess. It's a sustainable way. But in the end, you got to let your consumers know what they're consuming
Right. Exactly. I would definitely like to know what I'm putting in my body.
or what you're feeding to your kids or grandkids or whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't consume it, but at least I would be aware of it and I wouldn't find out on some ABC special.
Right. Breaking news.
Yeah. Remember those after school specials? Today, LFTB.
Right.
uh,
Mhm.
that's pretty much all I've got, Kat.
Me too. If you would like to support this podcast,
Please do so at Patreon. Click the link in the show notes.
William and I want to thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go
Share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
Email us at,
infoonthegopodcast@gmail.com.
and yes, that is all one word. Till next time.
Stay curious.